Hi everyone, we've got a new Player of the Week section at eFootball. As always, I'll have timestamps in the description for each player, so if there's a particular player you want to hear about, just click the description, there'll be a link to take you straight to him. But let's have a look at who we've got this week. So, start with the lowest rated as always, we've got Candreva. Normally a cross specialist, they've made him a whole player. So, a whole player playing style, that will be active right midfield, AMF, SS. Won't be active as a wide right forward. I don't think you're going to play this guy down the right though, because he's not the quickest. He's not got terrible pace, but both in the 70s, so he's not going to be the quickest. I don't think he's really suited to playing out wide. This is the lowest rated card in the pack, so it's not going to be brilliant. We can't expect too much, but he's a 5-star. I think the fact this is the lowest rated card in the pack, but still quite a decent one, just shows how good a pack this is. I think it's a really good pack this week. But to get back to Candreva, down the left is where he's good. He's not amazing anywhere, but he's got a pretty good attacking awareness for a player who's best as a number 10, like I say, AMF or SS, whole player. Pretty good awareness in that role. He's tidy on the ball. He's got decent passing. His finishing's decent at 80. We look at the skill set. He's got long range curler, long range shooting, pinpoint crossing. I don't think you're going to play him out wide right. Like I say, I don't think he's the quickest, so I'm not sure pinpoint crossing is going to really matter too much. But long range curler, long range shooting definitely help. Rising shot, dipping shot, knuckle shot. Got a good shot on him. Be nice if he had a first time shot, maybe one touch pass through passing. Like I say, this is the lowest rated card in the pack, so can't expect too much of him. But as much as he's not a brilliant card, he's not going to get into many people's teams. I certainly don't think he's a bad card. I think it's a decent one. It's a tidy little option. I think maybe he's at least to have on the bench. So yeah, not a brilliant card, but not a bad one at all. Then we have Jose Luis Morales, got a hat trick for Villarreal. So pretty interesting goal poacher. Normally, I think he's normally a Roman blank Morales. They've made him a poacher. He's a striker. He can play SS, can play wide, left or right. So I don't think he's going to play right midfield. He's not got pinpoint crossing. When we look at the skills, what they've given him, in fact, I don't think they've given him any skills. It's just a change of play style. But what he's got skill-wise, he's got a first-time shot, the most important one for a striker. He's got long-range curler. Through passing is a nice one. Super sub, very nice. So he's a super sub. Looking at through passing, he's not got the best passing. I think if you're going to play this guy as an SS, you might notice his passing is a little bit on the low side. Likewise, he's not got crossing, so I don't think he's really a right midfielder. Wide left, he does have long range curler, and 89 finishing is good. So you could play him wide left. His pace is decent. Not the strongest physically. Stamina's poor. Keep that in mind. He will get tired. So as a super sub, this might be a guy you wanted to keep on the bench and bring him on second half. So down the left, as a striker, as I say, the finishing is good, but the awareness is good as well. 88 on the ball is pretty tight, especially for a striker. And likewise, if he's going to be played as a striker, the passing actually is decent, especially with through passing. I think, to be honest, he's a tidy option as a striker or as a wide left player. I think with long range curler and good finishing, and the fact he's got decent pace, he's tidy on the ball, he could be pretty effective from wide left. But certainly with the awareness and finishing, good on the ball as well. I think he's good as a striker as well. Stamina's the big concern really, but with super sub, I think he could be a really interesting super sub. You could get rid of him from the start. I think he's a good card, not a brilliant one, not an elite level one, but certainly a pretty good one. But with super sub especially, I think it could be a pretty valuable card to pick up. Then we have the first of three centre backs. We've got Mancini from Roma. So I'll get straight to what I personally believe is the best thing about this card. They've changed him from extra front man to build up. I don't like extra front man for centre backs. They just start wandering forward too much. I don't want my centre backs coming out of position. Build up is the play style that I like the most for that reason, because he'll stay in his position the most. He'll stay back. And then if you look at the attributes, good defensive attributes. The one where it's a bit on the low side engagement. They have had this habit lately of giving centre backs low engagement in these player of the week packs, the player of the month packs. 81 could be worse. At least they've not put it in the 70s like they have done with a lot of cards. So 81 at least is in the 80s. Pace is pretty average for centre back. Aerial and physical strength, pretty average, not bad by any means. Stamina is very good at 86 for a centre back. When we look at the skill set, it's pretty much what he's already got. They've not added anything, I don't think. So heading and aerial superiority is good. It makes him good in the air. Interception, blocker, sliding tackle, fighting spirit. So if I'm going to be harsh, he's lacking man marking. Acrobatic clearance would be nice as well, but man marking I do think is quite an important one for centre backs. So that's the one big miss of Mancini. So lacking man marking skill, slightly low in engagement. Those are the two negatives. But apart from that, he's got a lot of strengths and it's a pretty solid card. So I think on the whole, especially as a build up, if you like Mancini, build up might be a very interesting version of him for you. But yeah, I think on the whole, apart from the man marking and the engagement being a bit low, it's a pretty good solid centre back. Then we have Garnacho. Obviously, he gets in Player of the Week for that crazy goal he scored at Everton. And this is actually a very good card. 93 rate doesn't look like it's particularly elite or anything, but with that pace there, that is insane pace. 97, 99. This guy is one of the quickest cards you're likely to be able to pick up in the game. The balance is good at 89. The dribbling is good at 89. Attacking awareness 82. Finishing 81. For a guy playing wide left, this guy looks deadly. He looks like he could be a really, really dangerous card to pick up. They're giving him the whole player playing style as well, which will be active left midfield. He won't be active as a left-sided forward. He'll just play more like a prolific winger, I guess, there. But certainly left midfield with the whole player playing style, making some good attacking runs can be very effective. We look at his skills. They've given him, unsurprisingly, acrobatic finishing. They've also given him first-time shot and one-touch pass, so big upgrade there. Two very important skills to give him. He's already got long-range curler, so yeah, like I say, with that long-range curler especially, now he's got first-time shot as well and one-touch pass, playing wide left with that insane pace, the balance, the dribbling, the fact he can finish and good awareness. I think certainly Man U fans will be absolutely desperate to pick this card up, but I think for a lot of other people as well, if he fits in with the way you play, this could be a really, really dangerous card. So yeah, really good card that, I think. Then we have the second of our three centre-backs, got Theate. Probably said that wrong. So they've changed him from build-up to destroyer. It's not as bad as extra front man. I don't mind a destroyer. I like to have at least one build-up centre-back. So I don't have a problem with that playing style. A lot of people really like the destroyer playing style, so it just comes down to preference. But he is a destroyer this time. Down the middle there, nothing spectacular, but nothing bad either. Thankfully, for once, they've given a centre-back good engagement. And he's in the mid-80s all the way up there, and 88 as for awareness as well. So yeah, good solid defensive attributes down the middle. Pretty decent pace for centre-back. Good physical contact. The stamina's pretty decent for centre-back. The one concern, 80 for jumping, is not the highest. He is 6'3", so he's quite a tall guy. We'll look at the skills. He does have aerial superiority, so he won't be amazing in the air, but I don't think he'll be bad either. He's quite tall. I think the aerial superiority with his height will make up for the fact his jump is not too high. And then he's got, I think they've added interception and blocker. I'm not sure if he already had those. They've given him one-touch pass as well, which is always a nice one for a centre-back to have. But yeah, interception, blocker, acrobatic clearance, sliding tackle. Like with Mancini, we're lacking man marking. It's a shame. I do think that skill is quite important, man marking. So not having the man marking skill is a bit of a negative. But outside of that, I think this is another good, solid centre-back card. Then we have our goalkeeper, Maignan. So not a great deal to say about this. They've not given him terrible jumping like they have been doing for a lot of keepers, although it could be better, 75. But when you look down the middle, 87 is pretty good for awareness. Catching and parrying, both pretty solid. Those are the two where you most often find a weakness with a goalkeeper, so it's good they're both in the 80s at least. Reflexes, 92 is where his biggest strength is. That's obviously a very important attribute for a keeper, so 92 is great there. 83 for reach, could be higher, but it's not bad. On the whole, it's one of these cards where it's not an elite level card. I don't think it's, there are a lot of people who've got better keepers at this point, but certainly it's not a bad one. I think it's just a good solid goalkeeper option. It's a solid version of Maignan. Then we have Kai Havertz. This is a very interesting card. Not a fan of this guy in real life, but I think this card is really, really good. So he's a whole player. He was a whole player a while back and they changed him to a deep lying forward, but it looks like they've changed him back to a whole player for this card. Attack midfield, SS, centre forward. He's got 3 positions he can play, and I actually think he could be very effective in all 3 of those. So he's a big, tall guy. He's 6'4", so he's a big, tall guy. Keep that in mind. Pace for a big, tall guy is not bad. It's not outstanding. He's not rapid, but he's certainly not slow. He's not the strongest physically. The physical contact and balance could be higher, so there's a bit of a weakness there, but that's pretty much where the weaknesses end. Although his stamina for a whole player, he is probably going to get tired, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. Although if you're playing as a striker, you could put counter target on him, and then that'd be absolutely fine. But then looking down the left here, attacking awareness and finishing both in the mid-80s, so you could play him as a striker. I think he'd be fine there. On the ball, very tidy. He's not got the dribbling. He's not going to be a dribbler. The balance isn't the best. He's not someone you're going to be trying to dribble around everyone, obviously, but ball control 92, tight possession 85 for a big guy is good. Low pass at 86 is really nice. It's very interesting. What's also interesting, he's got 81 for heading. 74 for jumping is not great, but he's 6'4", and with heading 81, we see now they've given him aerial superiority. They've also given him heading. So suddenly you've got a guy who's actually going to be pretty useful in the air. Also got acrobatic finishing. So 6'4", aerial superiority and heading. He's got 81 heading. I think this guy could be pretty useful from crosses, to be honest. And as a striker also, first time shot. Through passing is a nice one. He's got 86 for low pass, remember. So for a striker, if you're playing him as a striker, he's got really good passing. He's got long range shooting and long range curler as well. Rising shot if you like that. Heel trick's a handy one to have. And the most important one for a striker is first time shot. But like I say, with all these skills they've given him, he's actually got a lot of strengths as a striker. I think he could be a really interesting option to play as a striker because if you're playing him in that position, he suddenly becomes brilliant on the ball and his passing becomes brilliant. If you're going to play him as a number 10, AMF or SS, I think you look at the attacking when suddenly that becomes brilliant for someone playing in those positions. Finishing likewise, but he's very capable in all the important areas in those positions as well. He's very tidy on the ball, got really good passing. The fact that he can be so effective in all three of those positions, in my opinion, I think this card is really, really good. He's a bit of everything. He's just not quite got the pace and the dribbling, but the fact that they've added the aerial ability that he's got, that they've given him, the fact that he's got great passing, he's technically very good, the versatility, yeah. Even as someone who's not a big fan of this guy in real life, I think this card is really, really good. Then here's another card I think is really, really good. I am biased in this case though because I'm a Newcastle fan. I think this is a really interesting Bruno. So first thing they've changed, Anchorman. I'm not actually happy about that. I don't think he played any a particularly different role against Chelsea to what he normally does. He's always a deep line midfielder for Newcastle. He's the orchestrator, gets on the ball, he orchestrates things. But for some reason this time they suddenly decided he played as an Anchorman. I disagree with that, but whatever. But let's look at the attributes. The pace isn't the best. He's a little bit on the slower side. But physical contact and bounce are both okay. Stamina's great at 90. Down the middle, he's not got brilliant defensives, but they're certainly not bad. He's 80 plus for all of these defensive attributes. He's good on the ball. He's got fantastic passing. And when we look at the skills, though, this is where it's interesting because they've given him one-touch pass and they've given him man marking and interception. So if you're going to play this guy as an anchor man, he suddenly becomes a really, really good option because he didn't have those skills before. Man marking and interception are crucial. So if you play him as a defensive midfielder, as an anchor man, 80 plus on all his defensives, man marking, interception. He's got one-touch pass and through passing, weighted pass. Technically brilliant for a defensive midfielder. He's got the defensives. He's obviously not going to be like a kind of, like a Vieira, Makalele, David's one of these defensive monsters in defensive midfield. But if you want a defensive midfielder who's technically sound and he's good on the ball, I think this card's fantastic. But you can play him as a centre midfielder where the anchorman playing style will not be active. So if you play him as centre mid, he'll probably play more like a box-to-box. And then you can really make the most of his technical ability in his passing. So I think he could be a really, really good centre midfielder. So again, like with Havertz, you've got two positions. And I think he could be really useful in both of those positions. I think this is an excellent version of Bruno Guimaraes. I'll be desperate to pick this one up as a Newcastle fan, but I think even for people who don't support Newcastle, this could be a really good card to pick up. Then we have Pau Torres, so the last of our three centre-backs. So Pau Torres, we'll get to what they've changed first because they're not changing a great deal. It's basically interception and sliding tackle. But interception especially, he didn't have that before, and that's a crucial skill for a centre-back to have. So this is a big, big addition. He's already got blocker, man marking, he's got heading and aerial superiority, he's got acrobatic clearance. I think that's pretty much a complete set of skills then for a centre-back, so that's a very good start. Down the middle, good. He's got a good set of attributes for a centre-back. Decent pace for a centre-back. The stamina's good at 80 for a centre-back. Down the left, decent control for a centre-back. The passing as well, good for a centre-back, so we're looking good. But the one area where we're looking a little bit weak, jumping 79, physical contact 80. So he's 6'3", not far off 6'4". He's got a good height. He does have aerial superiority. So I don't think with 79 for jumping, he's going to be bad in the air. But he's not going to be brilliant. He's not going to be dominant in the air. So it's something to keep an eye on. Physical contact is the one thing where I am a bit concerned though, because I think a lot of people sleep on how important that is for a centre-back. To be strong in the challenge physically, I think is really important. So that's a little bit of that's the one downside for me. 80 physical contact does concern me. That's something to keep in mind. But like I say, I don't think aerially is going to be weak. He's just not going to be the best. So I think aerial, he'll get away with it. It'll be okay. And you look at everything else, like I say, the pace is decent, stamina is decent. He's got the most important attributes are good. And he's pretty tidy on the ball for a centre-back as well. So yeah, ultimately, build up, left footer, technically sound. keep an eye on the physical contact. But apart from that, with a good skill set, I think this is a very good centre-back card. And then we have Dembele. So Dembele, probably the least interesting card because they've not really done anything with him. They've not changed the play style or the skills or anything. And when you look at the attributes, it's just another Dembele. I don't like when they do this. They've done it with a few players recently. I remember Van Dijk, either last week or the week before, was literally pretty much the same as his base card. So you're looking at a similar situation with Dembele. You get exactly what you expect. He's got really good pace. He's got really good dribbling. Got a bit of end product. You know, he's not brilliant with his passing or his shooting, all around sort of high 70s, 80. You look at the skills, loads of dribbly stuff. The dribblers will find this guy fun. And then he's got through passing and pinpoint crossing. So his passing and crossing will be decent as long as you don't ask too much of him, because he's, you know, like I say, he's not up into the 80s where I'd like a player to be for his passing and his crossing. So don't ask too much, but with those skills and those attributes where they are, if you're careful with him, he will have a bit of end product. And like I say, crazy pace and dribbling will be a fun one on the ball. Stamina, the big weakness. 73 for stamina. He will get tired. Maybe he's better off coming off the bench second half as a sub. He's not got the super sub skill, but that stamina is something to keep an eye on. 73, he's going to get tired pretty quick. But apart from that, yeah, dangerous player, fun on the ball, but just not particularly different to any other version of Dembele, to be honest. And then we finish with a card that is very interesting. So we just had a Champions League Player of the Week version of Rodrygo, and now we've got a regular Player of the Week version. And like the Champions League one, we've got one who can play as a centre forward, but whereas the previous one from the Champions League was goal poacher, this is a deep lying forward. If you like a deep lying forward playing style, you might really like this card. If you don't, I think you're going to prefer to play him out wide. So looking at the attributes, it's largely what you expect from Rodrygo, really. He's got very good pace, very good balance. Stamina 81's okay. Certainly as a striker, that'll be fine. Out wide, you might get tired. It's not the best stamina, but it's certainly not the worst. Attacking awareness 82, not brilliant for a striker. For a wide forward, I think that's good though. On the ball is great. Obviously 94 dribbling is really good, but 92 for tight possession is really, really nice. You know, for a guy who's got good pace, balance, quite a low center of gravity, great dribbling, 92 tight possession. I think he's going to feel really, really neat on the ball. The passing is not brilliant, so be careful with the passing. Don't ask too much of him, but finishing 88 is good. When we look at his skill set, they're giving him a long range curler. So if you are going to play him wide left, that's very interesting. They're giving him one touch pass as well. He's already got first time shot, acrobatic finishing, through passing. He's a super sub. I think he's already a super sub. Few dribbly skills for the dribblers. But yeah, I think with the skills he's got, he could certainly do a job with first time shot and through passing. You could play him as a striker, deep lying forward. Don't ask too much of him with his passing because 76 isn't brilliant, but it could be worse. But yeah, with the finishing, you could do a job as a deep lying forward, centre forward. But I think personally, wide left is where he's most dangerous for me because he looks so good on the ball, got good pace, the balance, but the dribbling and tight possession in the 90s. 88 finishing with a long range curler skill and first time shot and super sub. Whether you start him or bring him off the bench, I think wide left he could be absolutely potent. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting version of Rodrygo. I think that's a good card. And on the whole, all 5 stars, no 4 stars this week. I don't think there are any real duds this week. I think this is one of the strongest selections of player we've had in a while. I'm very pleased with this one, so I think it's very good. So there you go. I hope you found that useful. There is an update scheduled for next week. Next Thursday, we're expecting the next version of the game. They've teased a few features that are going to be coming, so I might do a video before it releases next week. Just kind of discuss some of the features that are coming. So keep your eyes out in case I do that. Otherwise, I'll see you next Thursday for the next player of the week. And probably several new videos around the new content and whatever else comes with the update. So look forward to that. Thank you for watching. As always, do appreciate it. I'll see you soon.